Hi, welcome to the site. I just wanted to do a quick video on how to add a new recipe on the website. So once you're logged in, basically once you're registered and logged in, you'd be presented with this um, page where you can actually see the recipes. So if you haven't actually added any recipes, obviously you won't have any list here, but then you'd still have this option. So if you click on add recipe, will take you up to a page where you can add new recipes. So this is where you would add your recipe details. So obviously the key thing with adding any recipe is to add as much detail as you can. So basically I would like you to be clear and precise. When I say clear and precise, I mean each instruction that you fill in needs to be very descriptive, and equally with good quality. So let me take you through an example. So let's add a chicken biryani recipe. So the recipe name is, this is the title, that lepia, and this is the description of the recipe. So I would like this description to be um, pretty brief, so that you don't have a huge description. If you think the huge description would really help, that's fine. But my preference would be to have it quite brief. So so let me add one. So cardamom, chili, fresh mint, and this is a perfect recipe for anyone looking to biryani as an introduction. Okay, so once you've done that, obviously the cuisine and the recipe types are mandatory, so you have to fill them. So in this case, it's an Indian recipe, and it's either lunch or dinner, so it's fine. And since this is a chicken, it's neither vegetarian, vegan, or seafood, so I don't have to select any of them. And once you click on next, this is where you select your image. So you can browse to the image of photo you've taken and select that image. And then here, this is where you input all your ingredients. So the preference would be that you add one line per ingredient, so this makes it very clear to the reader. And also, if you're starting off with a alphabet, please make sure that the alphabet is in capital. So for example, if you type salt here, I'd like you to include S as capital. So okay, so I've already got a predefined list, so I've basically pasted all the recipes here. So wherever I've specified certain quantity, I've specifically said it's 300 grams, 600 grams, or if it's tablespoons, then I've said 1 tablespoon, or 2 tablespoons, etc. So that's why I've said if you can be very precise, that would be really useful, because at the end of the day, the reader, whoever is reading the recipe, it'll be really helpful for them. All right, so once you've done that, you can click next, and this is where you add your instructions. And the way I've structured this is I've added a sub dish basically. The reason for that is, if you have different steps to your recipe, ideally what might be useful is if you split it into multiple sub dishes. So for example, for a chicken biryani, you would do a marination first, so that would be the first one, and then there's a couple of steps in there. So you marinate the dish, marinate the chicken, and then obviously you set it aside. And then the next stage is, in this case, I'm going to cook the chicken. So for that, basically, the and obviously I'll have the steps in there, and then the last procedure is I'm going to add, because it's a biryani, obviously there's going to be rice here, so I'm going to add rice, and that's the steps for that. So as you can see, it's quite simple. And if at some point if you say, okay, I want to expand this, you can expand this, so that's fine, so that you can actually read easily what you've written there. So once you're happy with it, so you can go back and check if everything is fine. And once you're happy with it, then you can just go into the thing there and then click send. So that basically would add the recipe. So once you've added the recipe, so it'll come up as the top one here on your recipe list. So you're still logged on, so you can still see you're still logged on by checking here. And if I click there, so I can see that the recipe is there now. Okay, so thank you for listening. I hope that's been useful. So if you have any questions, please feel free to message me. Thank you.